How we doing, ladies?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We're having a bit of a dance party there.
Yeah.
So today we're joined by Patrick from the haunted side. They're fucking sound out lads. How about you introduce yourself?
So my name is Patrick McQueary. I am the lead investigator, host of the show, and cinematographer and editor. Pretty much, I do everything from on the haunted side. It's nice to meet you guys. Nice to hang out. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, and I'm so glad you got on. Because number one, I've seen probably everything you've ever done.
Well, thank you.
Because of having this podcast on the same YouTube channel, Thomas can see like everything that I'd be looking up, which is dodgy sometimes. And I probably sees all the time that like it's just paranormal videos and shit. And funny enough, you guys are always there.
He's like, look at all these ghost hunting videos, and were you learning to speak giraffe at 3 a.m.?
I try to wash my eyes out, but it just doesn't seem to work anymore.
Dude, the depths you go to at 3 a.m.
That's true.
Yeah, it's either your videos or giraffe language, which I am nearly fluent in.
That's excellent.
I'm glad you've been taking your lessons too.
I have. I tried. Yeah. In fact, Rosetta Stone just doesn't have it anymore, so I'm upset. But you know.
So you're from the haunted side, which is pretty damn awesome YouTube show. So you guys head out and you try to find ghostines, and you're successful a fair amount of time. I don't think I've ever seen these be unsuccessful, but if that was the case, I don't think it would be on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, it's funny. We get asked that question a lot, because people will see, they'll see kind of like the highlight reel of like sometimes even like a 3-day, filming, right? And they'll be like, oh my God, these guys caught all this crazy stuff. That's not how ghost hunting really is, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you realize you're watching 40 minutes of like 72 hours of footage, right? I mean, yeah. So if we go to a place and there's not really any activity or nothing happens, it's like we were talking about earlier before we went on, like we're still making a show, and so that's where when we rely on like Jason and I's chemistry on camera and on screen, is to have that banter and to have the show, the reason people want to watch, tune in, and then when we do capture some activity, that's just kind of the cherry on top, because it's like, holy hell, look at this.
Yeah, that's it. As otherwise, it's fucking boring.
So I'm telling you, ghost hunting is boring.
Yeah, but like, well, it's kind of interesting. But what I mean, like with the chemistry, is like, sure, imagine myself and Thomas got on every day, and we're like just have a guest on. Like, so what was it like being in that role? Okay, I was same with you guys. Like, if you had the camera out there, and you're like,
yeah,
I think I've seen something.
That. Yeah, imagine doing that in the dark too. It's like
you don't even bring flashlights.
Did you see the ghost? Oh no.
No, it's dark.
I can't see anything. And it's funny because we always say that, because I'll ask Jason, I'm like, did you see that? Or like, did you hear that? And people always are like, oh my God, you guys asked, did you hear that too much? And you talk too much. I'm like, you realize we're two grown men wandering around in the dark? Like, when I'm asking him, did you see that? It's because I literally can't see him.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It's hilarious though. It's fun. We definitely have fun doing it.
Would you not consider doing it in the day? I mean,
typically what we're doing during the day is shooting the B-roll. So we're getting all those like juicy shots of like the location, getting the drone shots, doing all that stuff. And it's kind of funny because there have been times when we're shooting B-roll and things do happen. And so we're like, Jesus Christ, did you see that? Did you hear that? And Jason's actually like, yeah, I did actually. It's light outside. And then Jason, he has his like sub channel called Cemetery Road, and he does like cemetery tours during the day. So usually wherever we're at filming, he'll find a couple of like really old cemeteries, and he walks around and kind of shows the property and shows some of the stones and things like that. It's really, really cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one though, but I'm not obviously familiar with the main channel. Yeah, he's I suppose nowadays with YouTube, you need to have the higher production value. Like, we only copped on recently that like a plain Zoom call isn't enough to cut it in 2021. When the attention span is a couple of seconds, we finally copped on.
Yeah, it's Yeah. And see, we talked about it earlier, but that's exactly what happened, you know, because the haunted side, it's still relatively new. I think we just hit our 2-year anniversary for actually starting the show and filming the show. So it's relatively new. But I remember going through the YouTube videos, and I was like, man, I could do that, but I could make that better. I see what they're trying to do, but you know, I feel like I could do that better. And I went to film school and everything, so I was like, I think that there's a like a missing, there's a big void missing of like a true to life documentary style show, like a series with episodes and things like that on YouTube. And well, there must be.
It's working. It's working.
Yeah.
What are you guys at now? Like 127K?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's seriously impressive.
Yeah, it's super cool.
You're only
And
at
what's
2 years.
Yeah, just 2 years. And it's so great because it's not just the series, it's not just the show. But you've been in the live streams, so you know, I mean, it's like a huge family. Like we have like some of the most amazing people in this like community now. That just, I mean, it's crazy. They have like meetups and hangouts and like all kinds of stuff all over the place, all over the world even. It's
crazy.
so cool.
So
amazing.
To have a community like that, it's seriously, we have it on a much smaller scale, but I kind of get the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It is a crazy experience.
Yeah,
especially when they're like, you know, interacting together, because that's a relationship that wouldn't have existed unless, you know, you were there, like you're saying with the meetups.
Yep.
It's a fascinating thing. So it is. Yeah. But yeah, you got some loyal fans in there.
We have the pocket plasma pals. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen that. It sounds very worrying.
Pocket
plasma.
Yeah. So Paranormal Electronics UK, the sponsor for the show, the Paranormal gear, they send us these things, these pocket plasmas. And it turned into a whole thing. So now we have like T-shirts and like all kinds of stuff, just branded pocket plasma. It's great.
What's that supposed to do anyway?
It's just like a little, you know, those little like static balls that you touch and the static goes to you. It's like that, but it's a flat one. So it's kind of the flat Earth of the plasma ball.
That's amazing. Yeah, before we started, we told Patrick here about flat Earth experience, which is even scarier than the ghost. But anyway, with those things, I used to use this thing as like my microphone or my speaker on this thing, and then I started realizing, like, all the interference from it. Like, there's so much like shit going on here. It was fucking with the sound.
Yeah, all kind of energy.
Yeah, ghost genes and all that. But yeah, it seriously fucked up the computer for a while. So don't put it in your computer. Put it away.
Yeah, put it away. No pocket plasmas near the computer.
That is, I understand why that's its whole thing now. Yeah, no pocket plasmas. Yeah. We were saying before we started that, you know, we have some strong opinions on guys who fake what you do. So how do you feel about that? Because a lot of yours is live stream too. So, you know, you don't really leave space for fuckery, basically.
Yeah, and we do that intentionally too, because I think even like about 2/3 of our content, maybe a little more, is live. You know, we'll do the produced episodes because that's kind of like the bread and butter. But then we'll go back and do, you know, several live streams. I think we've probably done 15 or 20 live streams just from the Truckee River Murder House, because we capture activity almost every time we're there. That place is off the charts. But, you know, it goes back to, you know, YouTube is an amazing platform that really gives you full creative control over any kind of project that you want to do. For us, we want to go out, we want to, you know, investigate these places, you know, and then take what we capture and show it to the people, right? And turn it into a series, turn it into something fun and entertaining and you know, fun to watch. But it's authentic, it's real. The things that happen really happen. But then it also leaves the door open to people who go, well, I can just make something happen. It's way easier. I don't have to spend 72 hours filming. I just spend a couple of hours filming. So we can have all this crazy stuff happening. YouTube really rewards those kind of channels because, you know, you see the red circles, you see the arrows, you see all that kind of stuff. And, you know, whatever, you know, demon scratches me at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
red circle and the red arrow. That's what you're looking for.
yeah,
for
yeah,
dodgy
you know,
video.
that kind of stuff.
So
And YouTube likes that stuff. I mean, YouTube wants people to click on stuff and stay watching stuff and do whatever, you know, they can to increase that viewership. And so, you know, if you see that kind of stuff, people are like, oh, I want to see somebody get scratched by an angry demon at 3 a.m. I've been doing this for probably close to 20 years, investigating, like professionally investigating paranormal. And I can count on one hand how many times something like that has happened, where I feel like there was actually something evil or demonic that physically attacked me. I mean, maybe 2 or 3 times, you know, total period ever. You know, and I see things. We upload 3 times a week and we get scratched by a demon every single time. You know, they kick in the door, light me on fire.
Yeah,
I've
what seen
the fuck?
they're dumb as shit, and I don't even get the whole 3 a.m. thing. Where did that even start?
Isn't it supposed to be like the most haunted time?
Oh,
it's it's supposed to be when the veil to this. Yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be when the veil to the spirit world is at its thinnest, and you know, it's the devil's hour and all that kind of stuff. But when we talked about it, we'll get activity shooting B-roll, you know, at you know, noon.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter on the time, but yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's marketing. It's a marketing ploy. Click me.
Yeah. That's just stupid. But anyway, yeah, isn't Halloween supposed to be something like that? Like it's the closest that we get to like the spirit world or something, and that's why we dress up to try to look like them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It goes back to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it gets awkward when you're a sexy nurse and there's demons walking around, you know. Like that was Thomas's costume last year. It was unreal.
Oh wow! Instead of Playboy Bunny, he's a Playboy demon. He's like,
oh
hey.
My God. But yeah,
someone's horny.
Nope. I get it, horny.
Nah,
devil.
Oh,
you went there.
You went there. You had every opportunity not to.
And
but yeah, with the fakery, you know, you see it a fair bit. But how do you spot it? Like, do you have any idea?
So it's so funny. To be honest, I don't watch stuff on YouTube. I do so much filming. I do so much editing of our stuff that I barely have time to watch anything. And I'll typically, you know, watch something like Trailer Park Boys, or what's the one that you just told me? Hardy Books.
Hardy Books.
Yeah. So I need to binge watch that now. The last thing I want to do on kind of like my time off is watch any more paranormal stuff. You know, then I have to. It's kind of like if you work at a restaurant, you know, and then you get off and it's like time to have dinner and you eat at that restaurant. You know what I mean? You're just like, no, I'm going to go down the road a bit and watch something else. So
yeah, I get you.
To be honest, I don't catch much of that stuff, if anything ever. It's usually fans or like really close friends that'll send me like clips and they'll be like, Patrick, like, look at this and tell me what you think. And I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's bullshit. You know, look, you can see, you know, fishing string or whatever right here. You can see all kinds of stuff, like, you know, that kind of stuff to point it out. Or my creative mind, like in the film side of things, starts to kind of deconstruct it and be like, how would you do that? You know what I mean? Like I kind of reverse engineer the clip and I'm like, okay, how would somebody do that? Like if you were shooting a horror movie, how would you make that happen? And I will try and go back and see how it does, but I don't have time for it.
Yeah, I get you. So when you see something like an orb, do you think it's just BS? Because that's a common one that kind of gets, you know, nullified.
Yeah, 99.99999% of the time, it's dust. It's dust. It's a bug. It's something like that, which is why if you watch the Haunted Side episodes, I mean, it has to be something truly spectacular for us to even do a replay of it, right? You know, there'll be dust and stuff flying everywhere, and people will, oh my God, you know, the people will comment and go, oh my God, that was an orb, that was an orb, that was an orb. And I'm like, yeah, it's definitely creepy, but that was absolutely dust. You know what I mean? There's really only been a handful of times that we'll look at something and I'll go, Okay, that's weird. Because one of the best ones that we've caught recently was at the Cabin in the Sky. And there was that orb that actually comes out of the ground where I was asking it to. So I was pointing at the ground saying, can you appear right here? Can you come out of this bar? And the orb just pops out of the ground, hovers around, comes towards me, and then kind of backs away and disappears. And I'm like, yeah, I've never seen dust act intelligently to
Yeah,
to a command or something like that. So that
that's
was
a
one of
fair
those times
conclusion.
where I'd say that was definitely unexplained.
Mm. Yeah, that's fucking weird.
Weird.
Sentient dust. Yeah. What do you
You
think it would take
imagine.
to prove, like, my voice is nearly going here. What do you think it would take to prove, I guess the paranormal?
Great question, and one that we get asked a lot. And I'm 100% certain that if you're trying to believe or you're trying to, check out the paranormal and you really want to believe, you're not going to do it on YouTube. Like, it's just, that's not where you're going to discover the truth about the paranormal. The only place that you're going to really open your eyes is investigating, is at a location that is known to be haunted or rumored to be haunted, and you have yourself an experience. Because no matter what, if you're scrolling through YouTube trying to believe, it's just not going to happen. Because every video, I mean, even the stuff that, our stuff that, I mean, it's clear as day what is happening. People are like, oh, it's fake, it's all bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, but were you there? Like,
Yeah.
how do you know? Like, how do you know that? You can't. You have to. You either trust the people and trust the shows and trust the sources that you have, or you experience it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you have to be that way with everything. Like
Yeah. Very true.
it's very easy to fake things. Like myself and Thomas still have PTSD from doing an essay recently on fake news. So you can fake anything fairly handy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We're in college at the moment. Something similar to what you're doing. You did film. We're doing media. Do you think film helped you with YouTube?
I think it helped. It helped differentiate us from YouTube, because people in the beginning, especially, and now so even more, I think they were just like, wow, this doesn't feel like a YouTube channel. This feels like I'm watching like a documentary or a show, like an actual network show, just on YouTube. So I think it helped kind of elevate the production value and elevate the level of the series to where it didn't just get lost in the sea of red circles and 3 a.m. challenges.
Yeah, but you add to that as well in the way that you interact with the community and you live stream as well. That's one thing I
Absolutely.
really appreciate when I watch your stuff, because I actually don't know if anyone else does that. So
It's very rare, and I can guarantee you in the paranormal world, nobody does it as much as us, because I spend about 80 hours a week just on the YouTube channel, just on the interactions with fans and friends and family and the whole thing. We try to. In the beginning, we replied to every single comment, hands down, no matter what, period. Now I respond to literally as many comments as I can, but there's so many that come in that I just can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll try. I'll take a huge chunk. I'll sit there for 4 hours. After the premiere of our episodes, which is on Saturdays, I'll sit there for 4 or 5 hours just replying to thousands of comments until my fingers are just like, like happy.
Oh,
My fingers hurt. Like,
yeah, yeah, we know it all too well.
And then, like you said, like even our live stream schedule, we do at least 3, sometimes 4 live streams a week, and some of them are 6-7 hours long. I can guarantee you, there's no other paranormal YouTube series that does that. Like, no, yeah.
Yeah, that's very
Gotta give them what they want.
unorthodox. Yeah, I think our longest was about 9 hours. I was for like your birthday or something, Thomas. The birthday stream. We just wanted to see like how long we could go in for one go, and we just got the 9 hours, and we're like, "Death be upon us."
Enough is enough, kind of thing. Like,
we did a 12-hour live stream from the Mackey Mansion. I'm sure you watched that one, but we started it at 6 p.m. and went until 6 a.m. And it was crazy because we caught some insane stuff when we did that. But we were so exhausted, and we're getting ready to do another one. I haven't told anybody yet, so this can be the unveiling of it. But me personally, just myself. Jason isn't going to be there. I'm going to be doing a 72-hour live stream lockdown in June. So I won't tell the location yet, but it's a great one. It's one that we've been to before, and it's nuts.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
That's got to be like edging towards your longest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Because we've done the 12, we've done the 24 hour. And then even filming, I mean, we're there for so long, but we do have downtime, right? We're like, okay, let's go get something to eat. Let's go, take a breather for a minute and get back into it. But yeah, I'm going to do 72 hours sleeping there, staying there, being there the whole time. So it's going to be awesome.
I was about to ask where you plan to sleep there. Jesus, man, that sounds intense.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
72 hours. Fuck.
I know.
Hope you don't die.
And I'm going to try to be awake as long as I can. Like, it's not just me a live stream and me sleeping. Although there might be a market for that too.
I mean,
isn't it? It's a thing, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
People do the things with their Alexas, and they'll people put donations through on Twitch, and it'll come out through their Alexa, and they'll try to wake them up. And usually it's like, Alexa, what's my address? And people will wake up and realize what's happening.
Oh shit! I can't imagine that.
That's rough.
That's my OnlyFans though. Is I just set up static cameras in my room and then just upload all that footage. It's great.
It works.
OnlyFans is a very flexible platform, and if you're willing to,
very flexible platform. I like that choice of words. That's good.
Yeah. There's this like tech YouTuber recently. I don't know if you know about him. I think it's called Linus Tech Tips, and I'm pretty sure he became like one of the top people on OnlyFans, like as a joke.
That's
like
excellent.
He opens it up for like a computer pictures or whatever, and then like became #1 for like a short period or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, I see that a lot. People do like random shit on it, and they end up like, top 1%.
Just blowing up. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny because we actually have an OnlyFans. Like, I have one, and the Haunted Side has one. But it's more because every time there's a new social media, I just go on and save our usernames, right? Because I'm like, is it going to blow up? Is it not going to blow up? Are people going to, it's one of those things. And I want to make sure that, because I'm so OCD, like every time I log into Instagram, it kills me that we're Haunted Side and not The Haunted Side. But The Haunted Side is some guy with no pictures, no followers, and he follows like 2 people. And I'm like,
are you one of them?
Really? No. Hell no. I should be, though. I keep reporting that profile too. I'm like, get rid of this thing so I can have that. No, it hasn't worked yet.
Yeah, that's rough.
Bullshit.
Thankfully, my world is not as bad. We're Awfully Irish, Awfully Irish Podcast, the Awfully Irish Podcast. That doesn't really matter. But yeah, I get that. I get that. You on TikTok? I'd say that helps.
We have it. I think we posted like 4 or 5 videos. It wasn't, it's not something that we're on all the time. It's usually, YouTube obviously is the main channel, and then we do Instagram. Just to kind of keep up with things and post like behind the scenes stuff, Instagram, but that's really it. Those are really the 2. Facebook a little bit, but more so just YouTube and the old IG. Yeah,
I think Instagram is the one that might actually find you some kind of success. Twitter maybe, but likes of TikTok, man. We had a video there with Bruce Buffer, and it nearly got 40,000. And then not
Sweet.
One subscriber. Like, we did not notice one new subscriber the day that happened. Like, come on.
That is terrible. Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of views, and it's obviously like going nowhere.
Well, see, that's the thing too, is like you said, you just never know, right? I mean, you put up this stuff, you get all this traction, and it's just like people are like, no, that the attention span is so short that 40,000 people can watch it, and then just be like,
yeah.
Forget they watched it a minute later. It's like, really? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Show some love.
Social media has really helped to decrease our attention span. Like, it's gone down by 4 seconds in like 20 years.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? No, I'm kidding.
I thought the fucker was serious. What was I going to say? SEO, like search engine optimization, has just been
Yeah.
the worst thing for people's attention span. Like we figured it out. We figured out how to get their attention, but at what cost? Like we got our goal,
Exactly.
but at what cost?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's why even I think it was probably last like January, February of 2020, when YouTube they did like a pretty big change to the algorithm and how, you know, all that kind of works. And I remember there were people that were mad, like so mad that, like, you know, they have 1 million followers or, you know, 500,000-600,000 followers, and they were just getting horrible views and horrible, you know, everything. They're just like, their analytics were terrible. And then here's the haunted side. At that point, we had maybe 50,000 subscribers, so we were kind of on that influx. Like we had 2 or 3 Nukes top 5 features, which always, you know, love Nukes. So that helps us tremendously. And then, but then January and February were like our best months like ever of 2020. Like it just exploded because of that. And so, you know, it just keeps going. It keeps going. So we keep making the content for the people and having a good time.
Yeah, Nuke's a unique guy. He's really helped a lot of YouTubers get up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's weird. I'll get in that, but he's really interesting. I'm convinced the guy doesn't have a face.
It might be. That might be exactly what it is. Or it's just not really even his voice. It's just a computer program and somebody's just doing it. They're just like, okay, type it in.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah. I think last week you guys got a feature again. Like I think you.
Yeah, about a week and a half ago. Mm-hmm.
That was
it was
weird,
funny because
clip.
Oh, dude, it was so weird, and it was funny because he'd already featured our Nevada State Prison because that was a 4-part series, and he had featured part 1 already. And then I got an email from him because we hadn't been featured on there in a while. And he just goes, "Hey, man, like I want to feature Nevada State Prison." I was like, "What?" Like that's some old episodes. We got some cool new stuff if you want. He goes, "No, man, I really want to do this one again." I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever you want, man." So. Yeah, it was creepy. It was definitely creepy because those voices that we caught, super crazy. But the craziest one was that shadow that like covers my face. And I was like, that was unreal because we didn't notice it. Jason didn't notice it in the moment because, you know, he's just looking through this tiny little LED screen, and so he's just like looking at me, trying not to run into something, right? And then, but rewatching it back, I'm like, that's so weird because there's a light on top of the camera shining through those bars at me. So there's no reason that unless something came in between those, my face and the bars. I mean, that's the only thing that could have happened. And it was pretty nuts.
It's really, really weird. So yeah, light on you, nothing in between besides the bars, but like obviously you can tell that. He doesn't move it, and then there's you standing there, chilling, vibing, having a good old time, and a shadow just passes over you, and then you're sitting there like, what was that?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that place was nuts. It was huge too. It was so big. Even in all 4 parts, for at least 45 minutes for each episode, 4 parts of it, and we probably only explored about 20% of that place.
So cool. What do you think it was that like caused that? Because there's also this clip where something said me as well. Like,
yeah, that was horrifying because I heard that one too. I heard that one, which is the scariest part because we're standing at this cell block. It's me and Jason only, right? I mean, that's the only people, like there is no production crew with us. We don't have a catering table where some shit happens. And I'm like, well, I'm going to grab a waffle. Fuck this. Like, you know, that shit doesn't exist with us. It's just him and I. And so to be standing at that part. And what's crazy too, is that in prisons, there's not like a ton of exits because if something does happen, they want to be able to contain what happens. So where we're standing, looking down into that hallway, that's the only entrance and the only exit. And to be like, you know, is anybody down there? Is anybody down there? And I just hear me. And I'm like, what the? Why is there a voice coming out of the darkness right here in this abandoned prison?
And can I ask why you guys pretended to be like inmates as well?
Just, it's one of those things where you want to try to create the energy, recreate the atmosphere, because if there is something there that is intelligent, we want to try to incite some kind of activity. And we're obviously not the kind of team that's gonna, kick open the door and scream at it and say, move something or else, or light me on fire, all that kind of stuff. We're not going to go in there and provoke them like that. Although at the prison, we did decide to be a little bit more assertive, because if we believe that these are spirits of the inmates and people that were in there, it was a pretty rough crowd. I mean, it was like, that was kind of the worst of the worst that were sent there. And so we wanted to kind of, to see if, and we do that all the time, at different locations, depending on what happened or what's the story, we'll try to recreate some of those events. And in something like that, I can walk through there and pretend to be a new inmate, and ask questions like, where's my cell? Where's my bunk? To see if we can get some kind of response or some kind of activity in that regard.
Yeah. Because there is like the whole 3 a.m. thing of them being like in the orange suits and then running in and doing the same kind of stuff. But yeah, you don't want to be without that crowd. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, fair enough. That's why. I think Brandon Alves had something similar. When he was on that, like they try, I guess, stick along the timeline of what they think the area was or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Try like be conscious that if it is legit, that it's basically just a person. So yeah, that's fair. It's kind of cool to see
people,
like. Go on.
I was gonna say they'll do things like trigger objects. So like for instance, when we were at the Winchester Mystery House, that house was built from the fortune from the Winchester rifles and Winchester ammunition.
Oh, that place.
And so yeah, and so I bought an old like antique pack of Winchester rifle rounds, and I brought them in there to see if bringing, because Sarah Winchester built that house for like 36 years, 365 days a year. She was building, constantly building, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bring these bullets in and see if that can incite some kind of response or something like that, because she believed that the spirits of the people that were killed by those rounds and those guns were after her, were trying to chase her. So that's why she would build all these crazy corridors and have 300 doors and all kinds of stuff like that.
On death doors, like ones that if you step through that, you're falling straight back down to the ground.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, it's crazy. There's one door that you just open it and it's like a 40-foot drop into the courtyard. And I was like, oh my god, they call it the door to nowhere. On the outside of the building, there's a sign that says door to nowhere.
That's just. Yeah. You feel terrible for that woman. Like she was living in fear, or like living. I don't know if there's actually any haunting, but even just the guilt of my family helped produce the gun that won the war, and what if the spirits want to get revenge on me? Like how many men died to the Winchester rifle?
Millions.
Yeah, and the directly responsible for making it. So yeah, that's horrible. Like. I don't know what was going on with her mentally, but I can imagine it was pure torture every day. If she had to build and keep going. Fuck. And especially in her later years, that would have been awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of people don't know this, but she was the architect behind all of it too. So it wasn't like she hired people to just build it and she sat back and was just like, continue to build. No, she was the one making the plans and telling them what to do and how to do it. And then had the people come in and build what came out of her mind. So
yeah,
it's pretty amazing. I can't wait to go back there. I want to go back there so bad.
Imagine talking to one of the builders. Like, imagine what they thought of her or what was going on there.
It was one of those things.
Consistent work, number one.
Oh, well, what was crazy too is that she paid about 4 times what the normal daily wage was. So the people who work for her absolutely loved her, because where normally they would make $5 a day, back then she was paying them $20 a day, which was like unheard of.
Jesus. Wow.
She had the money there.
crazy.
Yeah, I suppose she'd want to do any good deed she could.
Yeah, that's probably what it came down to. Yeah, she was like, well, if I can, give some of this money back,
Yeah. That's the tricky business, man. What was it like when you were there?
It was nuts. This was a while back too. I mean, this was like the fourth or fifth investigation that we did on the channel. And I had been by it, but I hadn't been inside of the building. And so to actually be able to get there and be, we were there during the day to shoot the B-roll, and just walking around that place. It's amazing because you can read the stats on it and you're like, oh yeah, that's crazy. 162 rooms, 10,000 windows, all that stuff. Like, that sounds crazy. But then when you're actually there and walk around this place, it's like you're in awe. Like, you're just like, holy hell, going through like the secret doors and secret rooms that go from like the seance room into this like crazy bedroom closet, and you come out of a closet and you're in this other bedroom and you go through this fake wall to it was so cool. It felt like you remember the game Clue? It felt like I was actually in Clue. Like, I was walking around like, okay, put that candlestick down.
When you were in there, were you told like things not to do and so on?
Yeah, there was, every location is a little different, but there they don't want kind of the negative side of things to be portrayed, so they don't want people to come in there and just be like, this woman was crazy and was doing all this crazy stuff. They don't want that. They want it to be like, no, she was very loving, she was a very caring person, that just really liked architecture and was building stuff. So I guess they have had people come in and do the whole like move something or blah blah blah, like screaming at the ghosts, and they don't want that. They definitely don't want that. Which is funny. We were the first team to be allowed in there to film like that in a while because of the stuff that had happened on a different ghost show. I'll say that they weren't
YouTube or TV.
That they weren't very thrilled about. And so the last people that were in there before us was like the History Channel, and they were doing some kind of segment on San Jose, which in California, which is where it's at. The house is located, but we were the first team to get allowed in there since then. And so yeah, it was definitely cool to be in there, but we were very respectful. We're always very respectful, but even more so there.
I'm glad to hear, because like you would want the other side, which is basically what happens on what's it called again? Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen clips of your man like challenging ghosts to a fist fight and stuff. Like a bit of, I don't know if you use the phrase in the States, but a bit of cop on goes a mile.
Well, to each their own. If that's
that's great. It's great TV. It's a great highlight, but fuck me, that's not something I would ever do.
Yeah. Most people just don't want to see a ghost ever, but if they did, they're not gonna be like, all right, it's time to go UFC on this ghost.
Yeah. God, UFC. You big UFC guy?
Not really.
That's fair.
I don't do much sports at all. I don't watch any sports. I play golf, but that's about it.
Mini golf or golf?
Golf, man.
Yeah,
I played in college and everything. I almost went pro. I could have went pro.
That's interesting.
What's his name, Jared? Damien Tomlinson? Doesn't he have like the...
Damien Tomlinson, yeah. Australia's biggest handicap in golf.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's because when he was in Afghanistan, he lost both of his legs and really fucked up his arm. So fair enough, he got that handicap. But he says like even without it, he's like one of the better ones, and he's a success story and a half. He's a king. I love the guy to bits.
That's amazing.
But
he's awesome.
He doesn't even need the handicap. He's that good, but it does add to it. Yeah, I don't know. Golf's not something I could get myself into. But yeah, to each their own.
I don't know if you follow. Is it the Grand National? But last year's winner, Shane Lowry, he's actually living in the same county as us.
Cool. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
There's probably some great golf courses over there.
Oh, there is. There's a couple. There's definitely like 2 or 3 around where we live. They're massive, like.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
used to work in one as well. It was really nice.
Oh, that's super
Bars.
cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over there, do some investigating of some like
dude.
1,000-year-old castles and stuff, and then
It-
and
We
then
live-
go play some
We actually
amazing
live
golf.
near one of those as well.
Yeah, we do.
That's so cool.
Ireland's most haunted castle is in Offaly, which is where we are.
Yeah.
So give us a call when you come down to Ireland,
Oh hell yeah! Well,
dude.
you know I am in fact a lord.
Oh my god. Actually, yeah, Kerry, that's a cool place.
Mm.
That's not it's far enough, but not too far from us.
There you go.
Yeah, well, Ireland's a small place anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there's some weird like haunted shit here. I have a friend who used to work. I guess her mom used to work in what was it? Like, Ireland's like most haunted hotel.
Oh, that's so cool.
Kind of feel awkward about asking the mom to get on, but I might give it a go one of the days. I might give it a
You
go one of the
should.
days.
No, you totally should. Yeah, I can't wait. Because even here when we go around places, and we'll the oldest we'll see is a few hundred years old. Like we just did the Presidio La Bahia. It's an old Mexican fort that was used during the Mexican independence, but then it was also taken over by Texans when they fought the Texas Revolution. And it's like 1740s, 1746, something like that, which was crazy old for us, right? Like, oh my God, this is ancient. Did aliens build this? You know what I mean? Like,
Dude, try coming down here. It's just
I know,
ancient.
but then to go over there, yeah, and see things that are thousands of years old, it's incredible. Yeah, can't wait to get over and do some filming. We were supposed to be in Italy last April and in the UK last June, which obviously did not happen. The world kind of shut down around that time last year, so we had to push back.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah, we had to push back all that kind of stuff. All that, we had a ton of filming get pushed back, and so now that things are kind of getting back to normal, we're gonna start trying to get back over and do some of that stuff and get some of that stuff filmed. So
yeah,
looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah,
definitely hold over to Ireland. I mean, got loads of haunted shit over here.
Well, with some of the stuff that went on here, of course it's going to be haunted.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Even worse, if you're looking at our neighbour there, England, it's even with London. Like they just like built over like old parts of the place. Like it's had so much debt in its history. It's had the plague, it's had World War II, World War One. It's had all sorts of stuff going on. But
yeah, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's called the stone tape theory, and basically it's a paranormal theory that believes that materials like stone and wood and all that kind of stuff, if something traumatic happens, it almost absorbs that energy, just like when we used to watch like VHS tapes and cassette tapes, how you magnetically kind of put that onto those strips. It's believed that you can do the same thing in these different places, and so if you have something traumatic happen, say on like a cobblestone road or an old stone building or something like that, that it can actually replay that event or replay some of that energy over and over and over and over again. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure Brandon also brought that up.
Yeah.
He kind of talked to us about everything when he was on, because
that's awesome.
He was the last guy we had on from his show, and he was most on the ball with it. Like, he's able to answer everything, and we had no shortage of hard questions. But yeah, like he also brought up something about like it could be something to do with like black holes or like some kind of quantum stuff.
A lot of stuff about like quantum physics he was talking about. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things, who knows, right? We get asked that all the time. It's like, well, Patrick, what do you think this is? You're an expert in the paranormal. And I'm like, oh, hell no. There are no experts in the paranormal. Nobody knows for sure. It's not something that's completely fully understood. So everything that we're doing is theories and experiments and all this kind of stuff. I mean, all of the if you watch every piece of evidence that we've ever captured, everything on the haunted side, not once have we ever said, and this is absolutely a ghost, this is absolutely a person doing this or a dead person doing it. We never say that. We're like, this is what happened, and it's really weird. Could it be this? Maybe it was this. We have no idea, but here's what happened. And yeah, because like I said, there's no experts. Nobody really knows for sure. Is it just an alternate dimension and we're the ghosts to them? And so we get these like fleeting, contacts, every once in a while. Who knows? We really don't know, but that's also the excitement behind it and why we get so excited when we do capture something, or when I hear something and I'm like, the famous catchphrase, did you hear that? Like,
Yeah.
that's what keeps us going, man. That's what keeps us going.
Yeah. And then you have Nuke nearly like just eating a microphone saying, "Did you see it?"
Yeah. Did you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that sometimes. Yeah, it is unique, but you said something there and it reminded me of something. What was it? If it comes to mind, I'll say it. Thomas, you have anything?
So basically, we have this friend called Dara, right?
Don't.
And every time we have a ghost hunter on, we got to tell the story of Dara's
We don't.
ghost experience, his paranormal experience. I'll put it out there. Dara was at a wake, well, he starts it off. He goes at a wake and goes, but then no, sorry, it was a removal. Okay, and basically, a sandwich fell on the floor, and it couldn't have fell on the floor. Is Dara's reasoning? It's impossible that it could have fallen on the floor. The sandwiches that were like this, one of them fell on the floor, right? And then another one fell on the floor, but not really, but it did. But I don't know, because it always gets tricky around that part. So what do you think?
That's the whole story. A
That's the whole
sandwich fell at a
story.
wake.
Now, I have a much better story than that. My mum works in a hospital, right? Several patients have reported that they see a little girl in a communion dress asking for money. But there's never been a little girl. Like that. Isn't that well better?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because we've had stories like that before, where patients in hospitals that never met each other, they would have no communication with each other, would report seeing the same thing, and we're talking like over decades of time. So there's no way that they would have ever talked to each other or known a story that was passed down or whatever. And we've had it where people are like, oh yeah, no, they see this here, they see this person here, they see this here, which for us, I'm like, oh hell yeah. So when do we get to go there? When do we get to set up the cameras and see if we get to see that? Because yeah, I don't. And it's funny because people ask us all the time, like, what is it? What do you think it is? And I don't know if you necessarily believe in angels and demons, or if you believe in just energy, positive energy, negative energy. I don't know for certain what it is, but I know for certain that there is something. There is something out there.
Thanks.
Yeah, it is.
But just to go back really quickly on the sandwich story, I really need a definite yes or no.
I'm going to say gravity.
You're going to say gravity? All right, that genuinely, that's 4-2 to gravity, because there's been two people that I'm like, yeah, I believe your story, but he's a really good storyteller. So it's like,
I mean, if the sandwich floated over to the casket, if the sandwich floated over to the casket, that might be a different story.
But bite came out of it and it went back.
Yeah. That I'm gonna probably go, because if you watch the show, I mean, if something happens to Jason or I when we're on the investigation, we'll say, what the hell was that? But then we try to figure it out. We try to debunk it. We try to be like, okay, what the hell could have caused that? It's not in every episode that we show an enormous amount of that. And people often will be like, oh, you guys don't spend any time debunking and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you didn't see the 2 hours of footage that was edited out to keep the pacing of the show where we want it, where we tried to debunk it. You know what I mean? Like, we tried to really figure out some way that it could have happened, because in something like that, where a sandwich falls, and then another one falls, the chances, the big giveaway is that the odds and the chances of some kind of true paranormal event activity happening at the same place with the same item twice in a very short amount of time is just astronomical. So if it had happened once, yeah, that's weird. It's probably still gravity. It's probably something that's explainable. But that it happened again, then you're like, okay, it's almost for sure, like for certain, gravity or just the sand, you know what I mean? Something about the table or whatever, and it just fell over, because that happening twice in the same place like that, unreal. It's like if we were at a haunted place and I kind of shine the camera around and there's a shadow figure standing there, and I'm like, holy shit, and I kind of shake, and jump the camera up, and then when I point the camera back, the shadow figure is still there, and it walks up, and we have a conversation with it and sit down, and I'm like, okay, sit your translucent ass down, I got some questions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I remember that episode actually.
That's pretty good. But,
yeah,
I'm really glad you say that, because I'm going to send Dara an excerpt of this episode now, debunking his sandwich story once and for
Boom,
all.
take that
Because
one.
the guy, poor guy, he's lost nights of sleep to it. I'll be quite honest with you. The guy, he'll recreate it, like you said, recreate the energy there. So he'll have to kill someone. He'll have to, make sandwiches.
I sure hope not.
But it's like the guy's really into it, man. And
Yeah.
And here's to say, again, it's the paranormal, it's unexplained. Literally, the definition paranormal is just above the normal. It's weird things. So it could have been something unexplained. It could have been something paranormal, that happened to this poor man's sandwiches. But I'm telling you, the logical side for me, the logical side of my brain would go, if it happened once, that's weird. That's just weird. But the fact that it happened twice to the same thing lends itself to being something explainable. It's like if you hear rattling behind a wall and you're like, oh my God, it's a demon. And then you hear it again and you're like, oh no, that's a pipe. You know what I mean? Something with rhythm like that. Yeah,
I'm glad we got to talk about a
explainable.
sandwich for 5 minutes.
I'm glad we did as well. It really.
I remember my question when I was shaking my head. And, yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh, you go.
Okay, so you were saying beforehand about like debunking these things, but sometimes like the answer might be like right in front of your face, like you're saying, like a rattling pipe. You ever come across a lot of squatters? Because these places are a lot like abandoned.
Oh yeah, it happens. It happens a lot, actually. You'd be surprised. But yeah, there's times where there was a location we were supposed to film at in California, and when we got there, it was an old house, but somebody had actually like locked themselves in the old house, and it was like a squatter because there wasn't any vehicles, there's no cars. It was in a really rural area, so I mean, like, it was weird, but there was like music and like a little radio playing in there and everything. And we pulled up to shoot the investigation, and like all the doors were shut and locked, and it was weird. And so we kind of were like listening in, and we heard kind of like some footsteps around in there, and we were like, okay, yeah, that's a human being. They're a lot scarier than than the ghosts, because we have no idea what they're gonna do. So we booked it and got out of there. And it's funny because we went and filmed the bat brothel episode, the old Bridge Ranch, the one where the bats are flying at me and I'm screaming like a like a 10-year-old.
Actually, I genuinely don't think I've seen that one.
Oh my
How
God!
recent was this one?
It was probably about 8 or 9 months ago. It's kind of in the middle of the series, but we literally named it the comedy episode because we tried to do like a proper investigation, but it was dark. We're walking around with, well, at first we had the main camera with just a light on, but it's still pretty dark in that place. And these bats were just dive bombing at our faces, and that's where the whole bat trick thing came from. And people were just like making fun of me for screaming, but I legit was like, ah! Like, it's so funny. You have to watch it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you can like form a community like that. It just goes so well. Going back to the plasma ball, or what's it called again?
Oh, the pocket plasma.
Pocket plasma. Yeah. I'm glad there's like inside jokes in your community, and it's going well.
That's the best thing, and honestly, I think that's really been one of the things that's helped us out the most to grow so quickly on YouTube, is that we do have a family. It's not just like we put up the videos and that's it, and you get what you get and move on. We really take the time to get to know people and build those relationships and really turn it into like an actual family, and it's great. It's absolutely wonderful.
I'm happy for you. I'm glad it's going so well.
Thank you.
Well,
You guys are part of the family now.
Aw.
You have to send me. You have to send me your addresses once we jump off of this, and I'll send you guys some Honda Side shirts.
Oh shit.
geez,
Oh,
I'll be wearing that mid
appreciate
episode.
that.
Yeah.
You're a fucking nice guy. I knew you were nice. That's why I messaged you. What was I going
It's
to
the
say?
Irish in me.
There you go.
Oh.
I'm either really nice or I'll just beat the shit out of you. You don't know. Just kidding.
You said it every time you go into like a haunted house. This can go the nice way, or I can beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. No, we can't do that. Although we do, I mean, we have to be packing, if you catch my drift, because some of these places, you know,
That means something very different here. So.
Oh yeah, no, we will have protection.
No, man, you're still confusing me there because
we'll carry weapons.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
Okay. Because
now you speak my language.
You were talking about having sex with ghosts, but you were talking about, because you said you were packing, like, you know, and then you said you were bringing protection. I'm just
Thomas,
I don't know, man.
Thomas, why do you think they have an OnlyFans? Next question.
I mean,
exactly. Hello, Patrick McQuarrie in full-bodied apparition.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All
calm
right.
down. Okay, everybody, let's just calm down.
Yeah. We had every opportunity not to do that, but we still did it.
Okay, so you carry, what kind of weapons would you carry for the ghost?
Not ghosts. We're talking about squatters.
Oh, squatters. Okay.
We're talking about people. No, dude. The ghosts, we have all the equipment. We want that to happen. We want to capture weird things. It's when we have the crazy person that sees, you know, $20,000 worth of camera gear. That's like, oh, I could kill these guys and run away with that stuff. And it's like, try it, because we've had weird stuff like that happen.
That's horrible. Fucking Thomas, you got me there a second ago. Like, for the ghosts, like he's walking around like a fucking a 9mm with only like silver bullets or something.
It's just, I'm just like unloading ectoplasm.
Yeah, he's just got like this, and there's the wooden stake is in the other hand. He's going around.
I mean, man, it worked for the Ghostbusters quite well. So I'm just out there, like, you know.
Yeah.
And who are you gonna call?
The haunted side.
No.
Yes, amen. Please do.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's fucking hilarious. Fucking silver bullet gun. But yeah, the squatters, like, tell us before you head off, because I know you're a busy guy. Tell us about the I guess the experience with the squatter.
The what?
The experience with the squatter. You were saying you had one like that where they wanted to steal the cameras and so on. Oh
yeah, no, we'll get to places, we'll start setting up gear. It happens. I mean, there's not even just one time. I mean, it's happened dozens of times. You know, we'll get to these places, and not every location is going to be like a Winchester mystery house, Presidio La Bahia, you know, which is a fort. Yeah. You know, a lot of times the places are going to be old abandoned, you know, houses, abandoned hospitals, you know, that kind of stuff, which leaves, you know, it open to things happening. We were at the Yorktown Memorial Hospital in Texas a few months back, and there was legit some people kind of walking around trying to get into the van where we had a bunch of the gear. We had to run out and run them off and all that kind of stuff. We did actually the episode that just came out, Presidio La Bahia. At one point there was like 30 people that had like congregated outside of one of the windows where the barracks were, where we were at trying to film. And they were like, oh my God, like, I think I see something in there. I think I hear somebody in there. Like, oh my God, you know, there's stuff happening. And we ended up, I took like this huge piece of wood, and like the way that it was set up is like you were looking out this window, and then there was like these wrought iron bars on the outside. So the people on the outside couldn't get up close enough to look in the window. You just could only see it from about 3 feet away. But there's like all these people just gathered around this window trying to get a glimpse of something. And I took this massive piece of wood. I mean, it was huge. It was probably like 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. And I dropped it right by the window, and it just went wham. And they just went, ah! I never heard such loud screams in my life. And then you just hear them like scatter down the road outside. Just like, and then we didn't see them for the rest of the night, which was good.
Yeah. I really wouldn't want to be in that position, though.
Oh
That
man,
sounds awful.
yeah.
Because obviously, like they're not in good circumstances. Probably not in good like mental circumstances either. And you're sitting there, you're already on edge. You're already might be a bit spooked,
Mhm.
and but then you add the fact that you could be live and you have all this gear, blah blah blah. Actually, have you ever caught that like on live stream, like squatters or anything like that?
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. One of the times that we that comes to mind is we were at the here in northern Nevada. There's an old mental health hospital, and they have a graveyard. Well, it's not really a graveyard; it's just a pit where they used to throw these people. There's like over 1,500 something like that bodies that are just thrown into this like shallow grave. It's horrible.
It's
Um,
horrible.
yeah, but there's also some of these older buildings that they're decommissioned now. They're just boarded up and shut down. But there's this one that was like the main. It was like the main building where they would do like it has like a really creepy basement where they would do like electroshock therapies and things like that. But it has this massive concrete and stone kind of patio area that's covered, and so obviously we can't get in the building. We're trying to. It's going to be super tough, but we're trying to get in there. But we walk up to at least to the outside, the exterior, and we walk up to this main door. It's this huge wooden door. And I'm walking up there, and I got the spirit box and everything like that. And I start to knock on the door, and hoping I can get some responses from inside. And Jason just goes, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh, gee, what?" And he just like shines over, and there's like 4 people just sleeping, right like on the ground, like on this little patio area. And they were still asleep, but he was just like, "Jesus, let's get the hell out of here." And we're like, yeah, we probably don't want to be waking these people up with a spirit box and this huge camera and all this stuff like in their face. So we got the hell out of there.
Power to you. It sounds rough, man. Okay, I guess that's kind of it. Yeah, I'm kind of all dried up on the question side. We've had a fucking good chat. I'll give you that. We've had a good one.
Yes, yeah, this is awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
so much for having us, or having me, I guess.
Yeah.
Jason's too busy.
You make sure to tell Jason we nearly cried when he wasn't showing up.
Yep. I will.
But I guess that means we'll have to do it again someday. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. You guys, yeah, please. Anytime. This was fun.
You're king. So if you got this far in the episode, fair play to you. Take it handy and bye-bye. Actually, before that, Patrick, if they want to check you out, where can they find you?
YouTube. Just search The Haunted Side. We've got the Instagram, all that stuff. Look us up on all the socials. But the YouTube channel is going to be where we put all of the episodes, and we do all the live streams and everything. So check us out, give us a subscribe, and come join the Haunted Side family.
There you go. We're part of it. So I don't know. Keep watching. Take it handy. Good luck. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.